Hello, it's Rachel Lancaster here. I am the founder of the Mutton Club, and I thought I'd pop in today. It's a bit late, isn't it? I usually do these much earlier in the day, but I thought I would do it later so that the rest of the world, the rest of the world west of here, the rest over the west, could join in live, possibly. Let's see if anybody joins us live. And I thought what I'd talk about today is why I set up the Mutton Club and a little bit about my own personal journey and why I'm so passionate about changing perceptions about women in midlife and changing that whole narrative around mutton dressed as lamb. If you've been following me for a while, you may be aware that I actually went through early menopause at 41. 41! Crikey, was that a shock. I'm now 51. And it was a massive shock because one, nobody talks about menopause. Two, I was 10 years too early. The average age of menopause, and by menopause I mean 1 year after you've had your last period, because we talk about menopause and actually what we really mean is perimenopause. And so nobody knew about it. I hadn't been warned. I didn't know it was a possibility coming at 41. And it was a massive shock. So I was really lost. I didn't know what to do. There weren't resources out there then. So Mutton Club came about eventually because I didn't want other women to have to go through what I went through. I really wanted to open up the narrative, open up the dialogue about menopause. Menopause! Shout it loud. Menopause! There's nothing to be scared of. It's just really, it's puberty in reverse. That's all it is. And I know that now. And I know that I am no less of a woman now, today, than I was 11 years ago, pre-menopause. I know that I'm actually in better physical health now than I was then because I look after myself now and I take care of what I eat and stuff. But I thought maybe it'd be useful for you lot out there, if you are going through menopause, and maybe you've gone through menopause, for me to explain what I then did. So because I'd gone through early menopause, I was advised to go on HRT. And I did a lot of research because I really didn't like the idea of going on HRT. It really was not something I wanted to do. So I did a lot of research and I found out what suited me best was something called body identical. And I think I'm right. I'm not an expert here at all, only in my own self and my own experience. But I think it's yam based. The first one I was offered was Premarin. Premarin, I don't know how you pronounce it, but literally the marin is the giveaway there. It is made from pregnant mare's urine, which really just, don't like the idea of that. And I really, no. So I didn't want that. So I tried to find something that was as natural as possible. And it took me a long time to accept the doctor's advice that I should have HRT. And the reason I went on the HRT was because I was told that it would protect my bones and it would protect my heart in particular, because I had gone into menopause 10 years earlier than I should have done really, which meant that there were 10 years when I wasn't getting the extra, well not extra, the normal protection of estrogen. So when I went on the HRT, I made a decision that when I reached normal menopause age, I would come off the HRT. And that's exactly what I've done. So I'm a little bit of a test case, I think, of myself now, because it's been about 4 or 5 months now since I actually came off the HRT. So I would take two things. I would have a little gel thing called estradiol. And then I had a pill, the progesterone, which was, the brand name was Utrogestan. And I got both of those from my GP. And so I've come off that now, and there isn't a lot out there about how you can come off HRT. So I did quite a lot of research again, because I love to do internet research, and it talked about weaning yourself off. So I was able to wean myself gradually off the estrogen, but not off the progesterone, because it's a tablet and you can't really, it's not like an aspirin. It's a sort of round thing and you can't cut it up really. I don't know what the insides would be like. I have no idea. So anyway, going a little bit off, slightly off topic, bit more detail than perhaps you need, but anyway, it might be interesting. But what I meant by the test case is that now, because I'm no longer on the HRT, I can identify exactly when I have a hot flush, and I can see what is causing the hot flush. And I thought that might be useful for some of you. So I can tell you, I haven't had any caffeine now for 10 years, because I was told to stop caffeine when I went through early menopause. I went to see a nutritionist, made some adaptations to my diet even then. So I know for a fact, having read things, that caffeine does cause hot flushes. I know that alcohol causes hot flushes. If I have had a drink or a few drinks, I will have a sweaty night. Delightful. I will wake up in the morning, and when I wake, I then have a flush. I also know that sugar brings it on, unfortunately. So if I have something sugary, or chocolate, certainly, which I love chocolate. How can you live not with chocolate? How can you live without chocolate? I love chocolate. But that will bring on a hot flush for me. So I've been able to identify those things. But what I've also done is that I've always eaten a lot of hummus. I love hummus. And I will often have hummus for my lunch. Now, hummus, I didn't realize until recently, actually is a very good source of natural phytoestrogens. So maybe my body was craving that. I don't know. So I have still a lot of hummus, but what I now do almost every morning, I'll have some sort of granola for breakfast, and I grind up flax seeds and sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds. And flax seeds have, I think, the very highest proportion of phytoestrogen to quantity of it that you can find in a foodstuff. Flax seeds are great. And I've started off, first of all, I get the flaxseed oil, which is disgusting. I mean, it's like trying to consume what you would put on a cricket bat. And if you ever had cricket bats in your house ever in your life, I did. My dad used to play cricket, and my son played cricket. So the linseed smell, not very nice. You don't want to be eating that really. But if you grind them up, and then if you mix them with something else as well. So what I do is it's the proportions are half linseeds and a quarter pumpkin and a quarter sunflower, and it's yummy. And I sprinkle it on my granola or my muesli or whatever it is, and I have that. But I've stopped having dairy. That's just my own choice, not for any necessary particular reasons related to menopause, but I have soya milk. So I buy organic soya milk. So I have organic soya milk on my cereal with my special ground up mixture on top of my cereal. And soya is the other foodstuff that is very high in natural phytoestrogens. And I have this theory that one of the reasons why in the West that we seem to suffer much more from menopausal symptoms than women in other cultures, particularly in East Asia. I think there are many, many reasons. I think, the difference in alcohol consumption is one of them. But I also believe that because people in other cultures, they consume a lot more legumes, beans and pulses and things like that, which are also good sources of phytoestrogens, and soy. The Japanese diet, for example, has a lot of soy. And traditionally in the language in Japanese, there's no word for hot flush because they just don't know of it. And now that I am regularly consuming these foodstuffs and cutting back on alcohol and chocolate, I don't have the caffeine, I probably haven't had a hot flush now for well over a week. actually. I notice them when they happen, and I log them, and I think, okay, so what did I have that caused that? And I think it's really interesting that it is what we do to our bodies. It's what we take in, or whether we, I think exercise has a massive impact on whether we're going to suffer a lot of menopause symptoms as well. Being active is really, really important. But all of these things can affect the extent to which we have hot flushes. So I just want to open up the discussion about menopause. That's what Mutton Club is all about, really. Well, no, it's not what Mutton Club is all about, because Mutton Club is all about midlife and reinvention and being proud. But I suppose the thing that made me make Mutton Club is the fact that I went through early menopause, and I wanted those resources to be available. So we have masses of resources on menopause on the Mutton Club website. And I really want people to know about this. So please tell your friends, if you're in menopause, or you've been through menopause, or you know people who are in menopause, tell them about the Mutton Club website resources. Because just today I was in some group, and I saw a woman asking about HRT and bioidentical hormones, which I've never tried. I don't know anything about, but from my perspective, the body identical ones that you can get from your GP that I've talked about earlier, they are more than sufficient and are very safe. Certainly safe, I've been told, up until normal menopause age. I think my doctor has also told me that I could carry on taking them now with no health risks. That's a personal decision I've made to come off them now, because I'm at normal menopause age. Normal menopause age. So that's my own personal decision to come off. It's not because I'm scared. It's just that I don't like putting anything non-natural into my diet, really. So I try and avoid anything like that. So my question today is, do you struggle with menopause symptoms? Is there anything in particular that is bothering you? Is there anything that the Mutton Club, we can help you with? Are there any questions you have that you would like answered? Please tell me in the comments. If you're listening on the replay to this, I should have said at the beginning, please say hello and let me know where you're watching from, because it's always fun to know where you're watching from. Give me a thumbs up across the screen or something like that, even if it's on the replay. And I can see that somebody is watching. Tell me who you are. Who are you? Then I can say hello. Oh, 2 people are watching now. And I can say hello to both of you if you tell me who you are. Anyway, so those are my questions, and check out all the resources on the Mutton Club website, because nobody needs to suffer. And I suppose I should say as well, I'm not conscious of any other symptoms currently, having come off the HRT. It is just the occasional hot flush. Everything else seems to be good, but that is because I've followed the advice of, the dietary specialists on menopause, exercise and everything else. And I seem to be fine. The other thing I do need to add is that you don't stop needing these things when you've gone through menopause. Basically, it's menopause up. So your diet and your exercise and the way you look after yourself, it's not a temporary thing while you go through menopause. This is a permanent change that I've made, and I will continue now with this diet. Obviously, it will probably evolve as I get older. There might be other things I need to add to it. But, my diet, my exercise, they're for life now, basically. So I've prattled on long enough. I hope that this was useful. Please let me know if it was useful, or whether it was just a rather long and rambling message. And if it was, you probably won't have watched this far, will you? Anyway, thanks for watching. Great to have you here. Bye-bye.